And we are back for another edition. We've got week 8 on the books, and we've got another special guest. Matty Chrimes, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, the betting side of things. I don't know if hopefully you watch our betting show. It's another tough week for me, so I'm devastated. But I think I've pulled off the win on fantasy. So I'm happy. That's what matters more than anything else. As long as I'm near that top of that leaderboard at fantasy,
real money doesn't matter. It's all about the wins.
It's all about the wins. Bish, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, very good. Our first show on our own YouTube channel, this one. So yeah, everyone get out there, subscribe, pass it on, and anything you want to see, get in touch with us. But yeah, it was an interesting weekend. The Eagles just about got it done, to stretch their lead in the NFC. Miami looked good. The 49ers, 3 losses on the bounce. So, yeah, it's shaping up interestingly. A couple of low-quality games. I'd say that's the nicest way of putting a few of them. But yeah, it's good. Week 8 in the book. So, and like you said, I think mine and Isaac's fantasy game is in the balance. He needs a big game from Jacoby Myers, so I'm looking to knock him off his perch after he gave me a bit of a ribbon in the week in the DM.
Yeah, he needs a loss. Yeah,
it's been good. I think on my game, I'm in the lead by 30 points, but he's still got Devontae Adams to play, which he's always capable of a 40-plus point game, Devontae. So hopefully he doesn't do that and I can get the win. Next up, yeah, Bish, you've covered your one. You've got a 99% win chance, Bish, so I think you should be comfortably winning this one. You can never say never, but like you said, you've got Josh Jacobs to come. I think you're good.
Yeah, that's the only problem though. Josh Jacobs is never getting those 13 points, is he? Let's be honest. So that's where it's skewed a little bit. So I'm hoping Jacoby Myers can, around under 15 points, I'd be happy. I think I'd have enough to hold out.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, my week's looking. It should be all right. I think I've just got. Well, I'm leaning very heavily on probably Detroit's 3 best players. If Jahmyr Gibbs has a quiet one, I've got Goff, St. Brown, Laporta. Just air it out, trying to just pepper the Raiders secondary. I think will be should be all right for 8 points. I'd hope there.
Yeah, you hope so. Unless Goff gets injured and the backup QB comes in, that'd be the only way I can see.
Don't say that.
But yeah, no, touch wood. I'm on a wooden table, so you should be good. And then other than that, I think we've got one really close one at the back end here. That Sam, our resident fan, who got in with us, might be getting his second win. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs still to play, and if that QB does get injured, but hopefully not. He only needs is it 14 points there from Jahmyr Gibbs? It's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
He's not getting anyone left to play, has he? No. Just on Gibbs. Wow.
So yeah, he's talked it up, Sam, as well. I think he's been saying he's one win out of 6. One win out of 7. He's 1-6 at the minute, but he's fancying him a 7-game unbeaten stretch here till the end of the season. So this will be an interesting start for him if he can knock this one off.
Well, you got to win the first one to win 7, haven't you? So
yeah, that's it.
I'm obviously I'm still in America, so I'll be watching the game live. So I'll be messaging in. So sorry, lads, if you're asleep and you hear me just firing notifications there. But yeah, let's get into it. I think we've got loads to cover. Obviously, first one we get into is always the injury report, and we've got a massive one. I'll dive straight in, lads, if you don't mind. We've got Kirk Cousins, apparent Achilles injury. Could be that could be a long termer for Kirk, especially with him being off contract. I don't know what his future will hold. To be honest, there'll be loads of updates still to come. In terms of fantasy, you have to look at the waiver wire for quarterbacks. Luckily in ours, we've actually got quite a few big quarterbacks on our waiver wire for some reason. We've got Dak Prescott. We've got who else have we got? Yeah, we've got Dak Prescott, Will Levis. If you're a big Will Levis fan after this week, Derek Carr, Geno Smith. We've still got some good level quarterbacks in there that can slot in. But yeah, for me, lads, this is more about them wide receivers. Jordan Addison, as a person who drafted Jordan Addison quite a lot in my drafts. I'm devastated for him. I think they really were getting that connection going. He were taking over that wide receiver one role behind, obviously, Justin Jefferson's injury. Tough news for Minnesota. Tough news, I think, for the wide receivers. CJ Osborne also a steady performer week in, week out. But yeah, give us your thoughts.
No, I completely agree with you, mate. I think I've looked into. I've got Cousins, Bish. You've got Hawkinson and Isaac Farrell has Justin Jefferson. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of targets. Who's the backup? Who's the backup for Vikings?
Jaron Hall came in.
So they're probably going to. I mean, he turned it round. They started poor, didn't they? The Vikings this year. They've won the last couple, and then with Jefferson coming back, you thought they'd have probably had a push for the playoffs, especially in the NFC. So it'd be interesting to see if they go and get someone, especially with them out of contract as well.
Yeah, that's the big one for me. Is like you said, currently they've got themselves back to 500. They're 4-4, in a position where they could kick on, or I think they're at that road where do they kick on, or do they sort of
they go for next year?
Yeah, let's keep Jefferson on ice. Let's look after him. Let's trade a few players away. Obviously, the trade deadline's this week, so it'll be interesting to see which way they go. Yeah, because I don't know. Do you give the keys to Jaron Hall, or do you go out and try and find someone who can?
I think my guess is go and get Tannehill. Go and get Tannehill. If Titans think they've got someone in Will Levis, I think go and get Tannehill.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
They might do. I think they might just leave. They've got two young wide receivers there, lads, and I think it depends what their and the coach's opinion are of what Kirk Cousins long term is capable of doing. I think if they think they can get someone of Kirk qualities in for next year, I think they'll just steady the ship. I think they've got Addison, who's proved himself to be a top wide receiver already. Obviously, they currently have the best wide receiver in the league. They've got. They need to sort out the running back situation. That's been tough all year. Defensively, they're not quite there. I think they might start looking elsewhere and start planning for next year and go for a big year next year. Pick up a few defensive pieces and then probably draft a running back in late round 1 or round 2, depending on obviously where they sit in that draft, and go get themselves an edge defender to help them out, or a cornerback or something, just to help someone to help solidify that defensive role. Because I don't think they're ready for a big playoff run yet, to be honest. I think they're a fun, exciting team, but it might be one to build for the future.
We'll find out, I guess. I mean, they were 13-4. I think playoffs. I think they were building up for a decent stint, if I'm honest. But like you said, where this leaves them, I'm not sure. Do they go out and get someone, like you said, a Tannehill type, or do you just sit back and hope you're not good enough and can get a higher pick? As we know, if you're not winning, you need to be losing in this game.
And my next one, lads, is if you do own Addison, if you do own Hawkinson, if you do own, I guess, KJ Osborne, and then also obviously Justin Jefferson with him coming back, what are you doing? Are you looking to trade them? See if you can get them in a package and get someone of similar quality that probably has more of a long term, or are you holding and hoping they do come and trade for another quarterback and do it that way? Because I think it's a big call.
I think it depends what they do on the deadline. I think if they bring a quarterback in, then you're sticking with them. If they don't, I mean, they're not going to be in a position of winning a lot of games, so they're going to have to throw it to someone. That Madison isn't giving them a right lot on the ground. I think I still think they're in a pretty good position, to be honest. I think you'd sell it at a real low point, I'd say, if you're waiting until after the deadline and they don't bring someone in.
Yeah, because if you do it, you're a fan of your if you're a fan of doing your stock trading, like you said, it's probably at the bottom it is going to be. You're not going to get as much as you can on other weeks. But yeah, I think you've got to, like you said, you've probably got to hold on, aren't you, and hope and get a good week. If there's a good week coming up, and get a trade on when they perform well. If they don't get another quarterback in, get a week that they perform well in, and hopefully package him up and get someone of similar quality that has probably a higher ceiling than they do. Because I think that floor will be capped. Like you said, they'll have to throw it. Someone will have to receive it. But I don't think them big weeks will be coming like they can with Kirk when they get going and that offense is flying.
No, I'd agree with you.
Bish, who is your injury report?
Another quarterback. I'm going with Matthew Stafford here. Micah Parsons was all over him. He managed to get a pass away, and as he swung round, he's hit his thumb on a helmet. He managed to play on for a little bit. Actually, the Rams did the Philly special on a 2-point conversion, so he managed to get over for the 2-point conversion. But then in the third quarter, he got pulled. I believe he's had X-rays today, and they've come back negative, so there's no break, but it is his throwing hand, so it's a case of, I think, pain management and grip sort of thing. So that's one to look at. Obviously, when he goes out, if he goes out and he's not there for a while, that's going to affect the whole offense for the Rams. Obviously, it's a pass heavy offense with Stafford, with Kupp and Puka being the two recipients who get the most out of that. So looking at their numbers at the weekend, obviously it was against the Dallas D, which is very good, but it's going to affect obviously the offense going forward if he's not there. So again, Kupp, Puka, I don't think you trade him. I think you keep him and obviously see how bad this injury is at the minute.
Yeah, I think especially I'd be happy with as a Darrell Henderson owner who picked him up on the waiver wire last week. I'm happy. I think there'll be 1 or 2 weeks now where they might steady the ship, give him a lot of the ball, rest Stafford's hand as much as possible, depending on the game script, and go from there. I don't think he'll be out long because, like you said, he did play. The game was, I think the game were well gone by that point. Dallas went ahead early and often and shot up, and I think they were probably just resting him and hopefully get a better week next week or the week after when they've got a better chance of winning, because that game were gone early.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, one great.
Matty, who's your injury report?
Darren Waller, I've got. It's he come out with a hamstring. It's something he'd done. He sort of re-aggravated it, which is never nice. And coming out of a game at 0.9 points as well, it's really early on. I just think it's a bit of a tough one, to be honest. Obviously, started the season quite poor, new team, and then last few weeks, he was tight end 8 a couple of weeks ago, tight end 3 last week, and then to come out with a hamstring, I think especially in a tight end position, it's a real wasteland for actual high performers. And I think he was probably starting to get to where he was. I'm not saying at his best at Las Vegas, but certainly is up there close to it. But yeah, so I think Sam's got him in our league, the super fan. But no, I think it's a real tough for Darren Waller actually coming out with that. But I think I haven't seen an official release on the exact timeline, but re-aggravating a hamstring is never nice.
Yeah, with his age as well. Go on, Bish.
Oh, sorry. Now, just about to say the thing with him as well is, like you said, he's got an injury history, and like you said, re-aggravating an injury that he did earlier on in the season. More than likely, it's going to be a longer layoff this time, and it just hurts that offense. That offense is basically Saquon Barkley putting everyone on his shoulders at the minute, and so yeah, it's a tough one for them. And for those that who watch their game at the weekend, you see offense is a tough time for them at the minute.
And like you said, I think even as I own Saquon in a few of my leagues, and I think it even caps Saquon, to be honest, because that defense can just clamp down on him even more than they have done this year. Waller, as you said, Matty, Waller was one of the only options they had on the offensive side, throwing the ball. Like I said, it started slow. We're getting into it, and they started to get in, not into a rhythm because they've still been bad, but they at least had some hope there with Darren getting involved, Saquon coming back from his couple of week injury, and they had something, and it all got taken away again. Waller off injured, and Saquon had a good game, but he couldn't pull off the win against a Jets team who very good on defense, but didn't offer much else. They only got 13. Was it 13-10 in the end, I believe? So
yeah, I think so.
How bad the offense is, and another person gone. New York, they might have to go into tank mode and quickly. There's news reports about them possibly trading Saquon. He don't want to be traded. He's come out and said whether that's true or not. Well, I guess time will tell. But they'll have to change something quick. So they've not, and it's not like they've got a good young core either. There's not much love going into that team at the moment. It's a lot of old bodies. I think they were going for a playoff run this year. I don't know about you, Bish, but I'm not confident. I don't know what the Giants are going to do long term at the moment.
No, I think they're a bit of a victim of their own success last year as well. I think they overachieved last year. I think and this year that they're struggling, to put it bluntly, and sort of I'll roll onto this as well. I'm throwing Tyrod Taylor in here as well as the injuries. He came out with a rib injury at the weekend. On the back of that, Daniel Jones is injured as well with a neck injury. So they're potentially going into next week with Tommy DeVito as the quarterback. So as you said, it's with Waller out as well. You've got Barkley, and that's about it at the minute. You've got some wide receiver 2, some wide receiver 3s, but getting reliable production is very tough for him at the minute. So it's just a week to week struggle, and we'll see what Tommy DeVito's all about next week, maybe.
Touchdown Tommy, TD, touchdown Tommy's going to be flying, and hopefully we can see a change to that Giants offense. But I won't be watching closely. I think my concentration will be on other teams. But we'll get straight into the next one, lads. Fantasy flops. Matty, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, it ties in quite well to the injury report, to be fair. With Stafford going out, it really put a sort of full stop on the wide receiver production. We've got Cooper Kupp went into the game expected 14.7. You'd expect him to beat that, really. I think that's quite low for Cooper Kupp. Comes out with 4. Puka Nacua expected 13.05, comes out with 5.8. It's 9.8 between two when you're looking at 27. It's real sharp. Going from Stafford to Brett Rypien as well against that Dallas defense, it was always going to be a tough ask. But yeah, they're my two sort of linked together with the injury report.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and it's going to be tough for them lads. But hopefully there's a turnaround. But what do you think, Bish?
Yeah, it's like you said, it depends how bad that Stafford injury is. And I think the biggest thing is obviously a new quarterback comes in. He might have a different preference, so it might no longer be Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. It might be Tyler Higbee and Ben Skowronek, who actually got a touchdown. So you don't know what it's like. So yeah, like I said, there's not much you can do if you're a Puka owner and a Kupp owner like I am. In various leagues, you've just got to sit tight and up. Stafford's good to go come next week.
Yeah, I will go on to my one. I've got 2 running backs, actually. I think 2 of the more disappointing running backs this year overall. First one I've got is I've got Tony Pollard, 12 runs for 53 yards and 6 fantasy points. He had a good start to the year, and he's just slowly tailed off. And I don't think he's had that top end production apart from that 21 points against the Giants that you'd be massively happy about. I think he's obviously a bell cow running back where he gets all the runs, and I think people were expecting more. He only 6 points against the Rams, even with the high score. I don't know. I don't know what we say about Tony. They've reported that they're trying to get in running backs. The news here is every running back's getting reported to go to Dallas. So if you're a Tony Pollard owner, I'd say trade quick, because it looks like they're looking to add a bit of depth in that running back room, and if they are, it's only going to cap him even further, and it might add to him like it was last year when it opens it up and he don't have to do as many runs, or it could take it away, especially if the reports are true and they trade for Derrick Henry. It could be a long end of the season for Tony Pollard owners.
I think with Pollard, I think we did talk about him last week. I think it might help him. I think a lot of the talk is less carries, more explosive plays, because I think he's like you said, he's not really that. It worked last year when it was a 1-2 punch with Zeke. Zeke did all the tough stuff, and he just popped up with the explosive play now and again. So, but Dallas, they're struggling running the ball at the minute, and like you said, they scored plenty of points. You'd think that they'd run the ball late in the game against the Rams, and it didn't work. So, it's see what happens come trade deadline. But I think with him, it is less work, less quantity, more quality. That's what I'm trying to say. He just needs those explosive plays, I think.
And then my second one on the running back one is Alexander Mattison, 3.8 fantasy points, sharing his role now with Cam Akers, and it was a tough start already, and it looks like it's completely zapped any fantasy production. He's nearly droppable. I don't want to say from someone at the start of the season that people were drafting so high. Again, another bell cow running back who were meant to completely dominate their running back landscape, and now he's last 3 weeks got 9 points, 5 points, and 3.8 points. So I think Mattison owners, probably one of the unluckiest or worst draft picks of the year, I'd say. But Matty, I'll let you divulge on Alexander Mattison a bit more.
I think it's just a strange one. Whenever Cook was out last year, he came in and he were awesome. Yeah. So it's weird that now he's got the start. It might be similar to Pollard, where you just need less work. But then they brought Akers in and he's doing even worse. So it's a strange one. It really is a strange one what's happened to him, because he were really good in it's probably him and tied with Mitchell are probably like elite handcuffs last year. You'd want them, because as soon as Cook or McCaffrey go out, they're on fire. They came in straight away. Really, really strange.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't think anything's going to change throughout the rest of the season either, are they?
No.
I can only see it getting worse, Bish.
I think Cam Akers will take over, to be honest. Yeah. I think it's taken him a while since the trade to sort of get carries, but I think he'll slowly get more and more carries and take over there.
Bish, who's your fantasy flop?
My fantasy flop, I'm going to go with Graham Gano here, the Giants kicker. It was a very tight game, that battle in New York, in not great weather, and he's missed 2 field goals. He missed a chip shot from about 30 yards out. I believe us three could have come close to that one. So he's missed that one, and then they were 10-7 up with about 30 seconds left, and they've gone for a field goal. He's missed it. And the Jets have managed to get up the other end, kick a field goal to take it to overtime, and then Greg Zuerlein steps up and kicks a field goal to win it. So, kickers, they don't get much love in the league, but the punt, we show them plenty of love. But, it works both ways. Unfortunately, with, Graham Gano's the flop this week.
Yeah, Greg the Leg really showed up Graham Gano, didn't he? But Greg, the reason why he's been in the league for so long now, and poor Graham Gano. It's always, and there's so much pressure on the kicks. To be fair, aren't they? I think they've got 1 or 2 meaningful kicks a game. They can get away with some of them early field goal misses, but if you miss that late game extra time kick, it gets you cut. It gets your career over. And sometimes it's tough to get back in. So, I do feel bad for him, but they've got one at the end of the day. They've got one job, haven't they? And I think there's harder jobs in the league than getting that kick. But I think to be an NFL kicker, you've got to be able to handle the pressure. Number one.
I think if it were me, I'd just have headphones on, sunglasses on, and just play on an iPad or something. I wouldn't want to know the situation I'm coming into.
Yeah.
I'd just go on, kick the ball, go off, and go back to Angry Birds or something.
I like it.
Rich, you've got another one, haven't you, as well?
Oh yeah, I'm going to throw in Patrick Mahomes. It's crazy fantasy Patrick Mahomes. What's going on? But I think it was a bit of a flu game. He wasn't feeling too well before the game against the Broncos, who I think he was 12-0 before this game. Never lost to them, but he rocked up with 7.64 fantasy points in the punt, 2 interceptions and a lost fumble, and no passing touchdowns. So yeah, a very rare blip for him and the Chiefs on offense. But full credit to the Broncos. Obviously a divisional game, a big game for them. After I think about 3 weeks ago, the Chiefs had beat them. So and I think to rub it in, the Broncos had the Taylor Swift music blaring out after the game as well. So yeah, full credit for that one.
Yeah, Matty, what did you think to it?
Yeah, it was 16 games, wasn't it? I think it was one of the longest winning streaks of one team against another. And then to turn up like that against a Denver team that's not been very good this year it's real poor. When he come out saying flu, I was expecting a Michael Jordan-esque flu game performance. 40 points, 4 touchdowns, a running touchdown. I thought, this just makes him as his push for one of the greatest of all time, and then he drops 7. I thought, that's a shame. That was tough. To be fair, though, Russell Wilson is playing really well.
Yeah.
Really well. A lot better than I thought he was going to be this year, going off how last year went anyway. I think he's like top 5 or 6 in a few key statistics, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's playing safer, isn't he? I think it looks like he's taking less risks. They've got the offense going a bit more. It's like I said, it's a complete opposite of last year. That the defense has just crumbled, hasn't it, at Denver? I don't know what's happened, but it's just it's completely crumbled. It come from one of the best defenses that won them more games than they should have won last year to this year, losing them lots of games. But I think they got it together a bit against the Chiefs, and you've probably seen what they can do. Obviously, Chiefs weren't at the best, but hey, there's not many better teams than the Chiefs in the league. So if you compare that to most average teams, you could see a bit of a run for Denver. Now they're getting the defensive side going a bit more.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Good shout.
Bish, it's your turn as it's Bish's breakout. The top players of the week. You always start us off, Bish. So take us through your breakouts.
I think my top player of the week, and against the Rams, it's got to be CD Lamb. 35 points he threw up in the punt this week. Caught 12 out of 14 receptions, 158 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he just had the Rams backfield on toast. Whether it was man, whether it was zone, he was just beating everything. And he looked unplayable, to be fair. Whether that was out wide or in the slot, he just looked dominant. So yeah, CD Lamb gets the props this week from me.
Yeah, CD were awesome, wasn't he? Awesome. Dak Prescott had a good get on the back of it, Bish. I'll add Dak Prescott in there with you because he looked brilliant. And I don't know, I'm probably the only person in the world that has a soft spot for Dallas. I don't know, there's something about them. They always have a nightmare, and I want them to have a good run. I feel like they've got a team to do it this year, and I think they deserve a run to the Super Bowl. And if they can get it together consistently, I think they're showing they could have a very good chance.
I think it'll be quite interesting when they come up against Philly. They've got them twice to play, haven't they? I think between them two and the Niners, you've probably got the top 3 in the NFC, definitely. So it'll be interesting what comes out of them 2 games.
Yeah, Matty, who's your top player of the week?
Star of the week, it's got to be Will Levis. Oh wow, he was one off the joint record in a rookie debut. After the off season he had in the preseason, getting drafted a year after Malik Willis, and he came into the game. Everyone was expecting him to split reps with Malik Willis. To then the 2 touchdowns to Hopkins. There must have been 100 yards between 2 of them, and then obviously he took a third one and you get the hat trick, and he's thrown another one to someone else. But I just think to come in, there must have been a lot of pressure on his head, a lot of talk internally about, is it him? Is it Willis? There was a whole battle about who's going to be QB2. One of them was getting cut in the preseason. To come out and do that, I think it's just a real credit to him. But no, yeah, Will Levis is my player of the week, definitely.
Bish, what did you think? You love your rookies.
Yeah, I was shocked, to be honest. I didn't know what to expect, but then when I saw the big throws to Hopkins, it was like Hopkins back in his youth, out there. So yeah, he's had a great start on it. I think that pretty much cements him definitely for next week at least. So, but if not, probably the weeks going forward as well. So yeah, it'd be great to see what he's about. Obviously, I remember the draft. He waited and waited, and he waited a long time to get drafted. So yeah, it's great to see him take his chance. In a game that there were underdogs for as well. So yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, like you said, it could mean Tannehill out and Malik Willis getting even traded. So yeah, well done to him. Matt, final one, lads. I'm going to do a pair of wide receivers, and it's the most obvious one. So it's the Miami Dolphins wide receiver pair of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Over 230 yards between them both. Both Tyreek had 8 receptions for 112 yards. Jalen Waddle 7 for 121. Both of them had a touchdown. It's more just to give credit where they deserve. They've been awesome this year. Waddle's been the one who's wavered a bit, but Tyreek's been, I think he's still on record to be one of the top receiving seasons of all time. So I'd say for all the fans who are from England who don't watch it as much, who hasn't watched it historically, you're watching something very special with these two. And keep on watching because you'll be able to tell people 10 years time, 20 years time about this wide receiver duo and what they're doing. So fair play to them. They deserve all the credit, and hopefully they can drag Miami deeper into them playoffs.
I think they will. I think they'll, them two with Tua just getting them the ball. They almost make it look too easy, especially Hill. He's just electric. And I think, especially listening to you last week about the quarterback play being down. I don't think the MVP is a quarterback award this year. Just the way that, if McCaffrey keeps going a touchdown a week, you've got Hill blowing records out the water. I think it's a lot more open than it probably has been in the past couple of years.
I believe they call Tyreek the Matty Chrimes of at the NFL, don't they?
I think it's something like that.
No, they're great to watch, and I think the biggest thing now as well, if Jalen Ramsey's back, that defense will stiffen up a little bit as well. He got an interception at the weekend, so I think that's the only thing. I think Tag spoke about it. He wasn't sure whether they'd be able to do it on defense, but I think as we get deeper, they've definitely got the points in them. It's just keeping them out of the other end, and I think when they're healthy, that defense stiffens. I think they'll be there or thereabouts.
Brilliant. Any other top players of the week, lads? You want to give a shout out to?
AJ Brown. AJ Brown went crazy again. He's gone 6 weeks now with over 125 yards. I think that's another record broken. Yeah, he's just really clicking. I think with Hurts in his second year there, he's doing some special things.
Yeah, on that actually, good point. Because I'm devastated because I've got Devonta Smith, drafted him really highly. I thought they'd have room for both of them to have very good years. And to be honest, Devonta's doing okay, but he's stealing most of the production there. He's been that good, and he's been very special. At the detriment to, like I said, all the other wide receivers there. He's really made that wide receiver one role his, and he's just taking over week in, week out.
Yeah, he's really took it on.
Lads, the next one, it's the Punt Projects. We've got the Waiver Wire Pickups, obviously huge every week. I picked up 3 this week. I've spent most of my fab, so I probably won't be as prominent now going into the later season. But give us your Waiver Wire Pickups for this week.
I'll crack on then. I'll go with just teams on buys, actually. Just looking at these, there's actually the Broncos, the Lions, the Jags, and the 49ers are on buys. So that's some pretty big quarterbacks there. So it could get a bit tasty on the waiver wire. So Joe, you with no fab, and I believe Purdy's your starting quarterback. I don't know who your backup is, but it's not looking good for you on the waiver wire.
It's not. I was hoping you didn't notice that because I've not got. I don't have a backup quarterback. I think I swapped mine out last week to get Darrell Henderson in, another running back. I don't know why. I've now got 3 running backs on my bench. That 2 of them are on IR, and Darrell Henderson. That's got about 2 weeks before my Kyron Williams comes back in. So I don't think I've been the smartest. So yeah,
you'll be selling players for fab at this, right?
Yeah, I'll be selling. I'll be selling a few. But yeah, Bish, who've you got? Who you going with?
Yeah, I've got a couple for you. First one is probably not for next week, for week 9. Is probably week 10 onwards, and I'm going to toss up Kyler Murray. And obviously a very high profile quarterback. I'm not 100% sure whether he'll be available in your league. It wasn't in the punt. I believe Matty Chrimes has outsmarted everyone and managed to pick him up a few weeks ago. But I managed to pick him up in another league, so he might be out there. If he is out there, I suggest picking him up because he might win you a fantasy title if he gets back and is in good form. But one for next week, I think we've spoke about him. Will Levis, I think he's at that job now, at least for the short-term period. So he's actually on a short week. He plays Thursday via the Steelers. So, a tough secondary. Although I believe Minka Fitzpatrick went down injured. I'll have to double check that. He did, yeah. So that'll obviously massively affect their secondary. So it could be one to get on, get him in your team. A short week coming off the momentum that he's had at the weekend, 4 touchdowns. It could be just feeling himself in the swing and letting another 4 touchdowns rip. So I'd throw Will Levis one to look at.
Yeah, I like it. Matty, what do you think?
No, completely agree. Will, he was my start week, so yeah, I couldn't completely agree with Will Levis. I think he's a serious player, and he's just got a cannon on him. I couldn't believe it. There was some serious ball in air time with I think with the third one. Oh yeah, serious player. No, I'll go on to my 2. I've got a couple. My first one is Dak. I can't believe Dak's on there. I think that's crazy. He's I genuinely can't believe it. Especially after putting 50 on the Rams. Sorry, Bish. I think he'll
not quite 50. Not quite.
I think he'll be straight off there and probably be too expensive. I think for you, Joe. The other one I've got is just ridiculous to be on there because he was involved in the trade of the century, which we can talk about again a bit later on. But Cole Kmet, if anything, I'm really happy we got 12.9 points. That really put a smile on my face seeing him on there and getting that. That was a nice moment. But yeah, they're my 2, Dak and Cole Kmet.
Well, yeah, we'll get on to that in a minute. To be fair, I don't know how much that advice can translate to other leagues and people watching, just because I can't, like you said, I can't believe Dak's on there because he shouldn't be, should he? He should at least be on the bench, and for weeks that makes sense for him for good matchups. He shouldn't be on that waiver wire. I think, did I have him? Who put him on the waiver wire? That'd be a great question.
I think with our league as well, I think a lot of the boys who have the elite quarterback ones don't carry a backup. So generally, there's a few more out there than would be in other leagues, I think.
Yeah, there is because I said I mentioned a few earlier on. But while you look out, Connor Bish,
my brother, he drafted him in the 8th round, and then he dropped him on the 20th of October, so 10 days ago. He must have had a bad game.
I will go over mine. I've just got a steady wide receiver now who can be in your flex position if you need that, or filling as a wide receiver too. I've got Tyler Boyd. I know he's the wide receiver 3 on that Cincinnati Bengals team, but they've finally got going. We've talked about it for probably a good month or 2 now about when Cincinnati are going to go. I didn't believe they would be this good, but the the back flying as good as the ever was. Tyler Boyd's averaged 13 points, 12 points. And I think with Tyler, with his size, with the way he plays, and with how they throw the ball, that's what they do now. Mixon's not as... It's took a step back from previous years. And I think they're now looking to throw it even more. Now Burrow can actually move. Now he can move out of the pocket and get a bit of extra time for his receivers. And I think he just gives you I think Boyd just gives you a nice floor there where you're not playing him really worried anymore. We'll get 8 to 12 to 15 points every week. And yeah, if you're one that needs that consistency, if you're high up there in the 5 to 2 range in your record and just want to keep steady away, I think he'll be a nice option for your team to get in there and slot in if you're having a bad bye week or got a couple of injuries.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think there's another one as well I forgot to mention. I think Jahan Dotson sitting there is a nice little pickup for someone. I think he's sort of been in and out of teams this year, especially in our league. I don't know what other leagues will have done, but I think he's he had a big game this week, and I think it's about time he started picking up, because I think a lot of people would have been quite high on Jahan Dotson coming into the league anyway, into the year. So yeah, I think he's another one as well sitting there that's not bad.
Yeah. He's another one. Sorry, Joe, I keep cutting you off.
No, you go, pal, yeah.
Yeah, I think we both had him, Grimes, haven't we? I think I drafted him, dropped him, and then I think you picked him up and dropped him. And it's just the way the Commanders are at the minute. They seem to be using everyone. Like Dotson had a big game, so did Jamison Crowder. I think Terry McLaurin got a touchdown as well. So hopefully, for those that own him or can pick him up, hopefully that was his breakout week this week, and he'll kick on going forward. But it's I think he's still a bit of a risky one, just because you don't know. He's not guaranteed those targets, which is tricky. So yeah, he's a bit of a risk. Well,
lads, as you're the two that have had him, why did you not feel he was worth a bench spot? Because I think, to be fair, with Jahan Dotson, what he is he's one of the players I kind of like, that excites me, is in that he can have them crazy weeks and he'll have a really low week. But are you looking for someone a bit more safer on your bench? Because at the moment, that's what he is. He's probably a bench playing with a good matchup. You can plug him in that flex spot and you hope he has his big week. But why was he not worth that bench spot?
For me, I've talked about my struggles with Calvin Ridley. So it was either Calvin Ridley or Dotson for my bench, to be honest. At the minute, I carried Dotson waiting for that breakout game, and it just didn't come. And I just got to a point where I picked up Puka. I made my trade for Keenan Allen. So then I had to choose out of Ridley or Dotson. So unfortunately, Dotson was the odd man out.
Yeah, I think for me it's I'm quite heavily leaning on wide receivers. So I've got Cooper and Godwin on my bench, and then I've got I've got Mitchell, who's not going anywhere because he covers me for McCaffrey, and if he goes down, I think I'll cry. And then I think I got rid of him for Hardman when he was going back to Kansas City, because I thought the wide receivers aren't doing massive amounts. I thought back in a place he knows, I've gone for the better quarterback really, over Mahomes over Howell. So it's that's why I got rid of him anyway. I couldn't fit everyone in.
Yeah,
Howell quarterback won this week. Get him back in your team.
All right, fine.
Lads, and the last segment we do is always the punters after the show, the best kicker of the week. I'll go mine, Cameron Dicker for the Chargers, another 16 points. I think he's been my kicker of the week a couple of weeks now. I keep saying it, but then don't add him to my team. So he's actually on the waiver wire. So I've got to add him in now. I can't keep giving him big reps without backing it up. So yeah, challenge me for Dicker, lads, because he's. I think he might be my waiver wire pickup. But yeah, Bish, do you want to take us through yours?
Mine was Brandon McManus for the Jags, another 16 points, 4 out of 4 field goals, two over 50 yards. So in a game that was, I think, one for the purists. Again, bad weather, defense is on top. He certainly made the difference there with his 16 points in fantasy.
And Matty, who was yours?
Mine was Eddie Pinheiro for the Panthers. he won the game for him, got their first win of the year, but he had to take the kick 3 times. And I thought that is very impressive to have to do that, because I think he missed one of them. I think he missed the first one, and then it got brought back for offside, and then he got it and it was brought back for offside, and then he got it and stuck it. So yeah, I just thought that's pretty special.
Yeah, what we speak about earlier, handling that pressure is number one. I think number one for a kicker, in it. How big their cojones are, I think, is the number one thing for it. But Matty, you were talking us pre-show. Normally we've got questions for the guests we like to have on, but you've got a question for me, I believe, and it's not one I think I'll be happy answering.
I just don't know. I don't know where the thought process comes from as to the. I mean, we can go back to the start. We can go back to the trade of the century, where you've got rid of Keenan Allen, Derrick Henry, George Kittle, 3 elite players in their positions, and more than could be WR1, running back 1, tight end 1 in any given week. And you've given up for Aaron Jones, who's not awful, Kieran Williams, who's on IR, so isn't even playing, and Cole Kmet, who a week later is on the waiver wire. And then when he's on the waiver wire, because he didn't get enough points last week, he got 12.9, which I think is just the best redemption story. And I was genuinely, it made my day seeing that, because I was furious when I saw that. There's been some horrendous trades, but that really was just, I can't explain how much that annoyed me.
Yeah, I'll go into my thoughts again. I'm looking for playoffs. Like I said, it might be a bit cocky of me, and hopefully I win this week, so it redeems it a little bit. But I think we know. We were discussing pre-show that we know there's about 2 or 3 that are on the precipice of being either in or out of the playoffs. But in general, most people know where they're at now. I think now we're getting there. There could be some big swings, but without any major injuries, I think most teams are looking pretty good. I think in our league, and I'm looking for that big playoff run. I think Derrick Henry, as that season goes on, I don't know. I could just see his effectiveness getting less and less if they're not near them playoffs, and possibly with trade talk, if he gets added to a team that also has another good running back like a Tony Pollard, I think that will just cap him wherever he goes. Probably a bit too early on that, and could have demanded more than Aaron Jones. I like the sound of Aaron Jones because AJ Dillon sucked. I picked up AJ Dillon a few times on my on the waiver wire to fill in when he were injured, thinking I was smart, and he just looked that bad. So I thought, well, I thought Aaron Jones would be a bell cow, but the offensive line's really letting that one down, I think. I think the worst one's the Kittle, like you said, the Kittle Cole Kmet one.
You've not even kept him on your team.
Yeah.
To be fair, you did pick up Kincaid.
I did, yeah. I thought that were more. I think so. When I got rid of Kittle, I thought, well, I can't predict which weeks is going to be good in. As it gets tighter in the season for them, I thought, well, it could explode, or he could see his effectiveness as a blocker come out again, and they'll need that running help as it gets further on and teams tighten down on it. And I probably overread myself, and then, like I said, got Cole Kmet thinking, steady production, and then I saw Dalton Kincaid on the waiver wire, and I thought, well, I've got no one else I really want to drop. So I'm going to have to chop the man I just traded for, which I thought would get me some hammer. It paid off. Week 1, Kincaid got 2-3 more points than him. So I don't know if that's a payoff, but at least it's slightly justified at the moment. But yeah, otherwise, it could be one of the worst trades in history if Kittle plays the way he has the last couple of weeks and Derrick Henry carries on doing well. It could be tough. It could be tough. I'm happy with my Kyren Williams pickup. I was happy with Aaron Jones. But yeah, that letting Kittle go could be a shocker because we know how hard to find a good tight end in the NFL is. So yeah, I might be regretting it in a couple of weeks. You might have to come back on in a couple of weeks. remind me again. But I've got a question for you, Matty. Obviously, with you, is this your first ever season doing this, or have you done it in previous years?
No, I've done it. It's my first time on the actual sleeper app, but I've done it. I've done it a couple of years now. It's from I think the 3rd year or 4th year doing it. Yeah.
I've asked every guest this and asked the viewers, what's your way? Do you like a high ceiling, a high floor, a bit one who maybe like a Kittle that has one good week, one bad week, a bit more exciting, or do you like the steady but maybe lower production? Give us your fantasy thoughts for the fans that watch. And
that's a good question. I don't know. I normally, to be fair, especially this year, I never normally trade, but I've done a couple this year because I'm normally quite protective of my picks, because if they work, then I look like I know what I'm talking about. But no, I think it's, especially in our league, I took Taylor in the 4th, and I backed myself after 4 weeks to get to at least one win, and then just have him and McCaffrey take me home. That's my plan for them too. I thought St. Brown. I like having the WR1, even if it's for I didn't think Detroit were going to be as good as they were this year. But you could see last year that Amon-Ra was quite special. So I think it's normally just getting, the top one, whether it's at a lesser team. Like in another league, I've got McLaurin, and I've put a lot of weight on him. So it's just, mine is ceiling or floor. Again, I think I'm quite, what's the word? I'm quite tentative on rookies as well sometimes. I took Addison quite high because I'd seen a lot about him. But yeah, I like a known quantity, and I like to know what I'm getting. Which is, I don't know why I've taken Michael Thomas for the past 3 years, but because I know it's in there somewhere and it will come back.
No, well, good. Bish, have you got any last comments?
I just think you've rumbled a few feathers in this league, Grimesy. I know you. I like it personally. Obviously, you're always on the chat commenting, and you've made a bit of a rivalry out of a certain Thunder father, who I believe you play pretty soon.
Week 13 I've got him. So what are we, 5 weeks out? That's coming close to playoff time as well. So that could be a real serious game. I think he's got a couple more wins. He must have been playing teams at the bottom at the minute. So I'm sure that'll even out, and that'll probably, I'll push him out of the playoffs. That'd be really nice if I could do that. But no, he's just he had a couple of digs at me when I was telling people they were making bad moves, and I just thought, I'll keep an eye on you. I'm coming. I am coming. And like I say, what Taylor's warming up now. McCaffrey's good to go. I think we'll be there or thereabouts come week 13. And I will be on top.
You're pretty deep at wide receiver. I know you've got Amari Cooper currently up on the trade block, haven't you?
He is.
I believe you've some offers have. Well, I know one offer has gone your way that you've turned down. What are you looking for Cooper? Where do you see him, and what are you trying to get?
I think a running back. I want a good running back. I need, I've got Taylor, McCaffrey, and Mixon, but I want somewhat, because I think Mixon, like Joe said, I think he's going to start coming. I think he's probably going to start tailing off a bit as they throw it more, and because they need to go and win games now. I think they're 4-4. Yeah, the Bengals. So they need to go and win games, and I think you've got to get the ball in your best player's hands, which is Jamar Chase and T Higgins for me. So he's probably going to come out soon. I've got Godwin and Cooper sat on the bench. Godwin is, again, he's probably covering for the other 2 wide receivers. But yeah, Cooper. I'm looking at running backs. I think for Cooper, that's where I'm aiming. I think a good playing running back. I've got Mitchell on there as a running back. He's just there to cover for CMC. So yeah, I do need a bit of depth. I think at running back is my target.
Nice. I've got all the information I need to know.
Yeah, there's 3 people who did put an offer in, and I appreciate them greatly. I won't name them, but 2 are on here.
No, it's I see. I'm the opposite to you. I know you say you don't like to do many trades, but for me, it's all about matchups week to week. So I'm just looking at what I can get. I see teams very short term until you hit close to that trade deadline. So that's probably why I think, and I know Tag's similar. I'm in a few leagues with Tag, so we trade quite a bit. So a trade that might look lopsided or slightly one-sided on the face of it might not be further down the line, sort of thing. So that's how I see it. I'm quite happy to give away value if it means I'm trying to win titles, not trades. That's my motto.
Nice.
So that's how I play.
I like that.
But yeah, the deadline's creeping up. I think ours is week 12, so we've got a few weeks for a bit more action. So we'll see how that goes.
Teams locked in then before I play Tag. Interesting.
Yeah, good one. Well, lads, I appreciate it. Been a brilliant show. Bish, do you want to go through all the YouTube stuff again? As you mentioned, it's our first show on the new channel now. We're no longer under Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. We'll having our own. We'll be having our own channel, our own NFL thing. We'll be getting loads more content going now. We're hoping to get as many subscribers to share everything with your friends, and let's get the punt team going. And I don't know if we call ourselves the punters. Let's get the punters going and all commenting, and let's get a community of us UK based fans all going at it in the comments.
Yeah, the Punt NFL is the channel. Subscribe, pass it on, and I'm enjoying this. It's great to have the boys, the rugby lads doing fantasy and getting amongst it. So yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. Hopefully we'll have you back on before the season ends and try and get a few more of the boys on as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for having me. I didn't realise it was the first one on the new channel. I feel special. A blast.
Brilliant, lads. Well, hopefully see you soon. And Bish, I'll see you for the betting preview later in the week. Hopefully we can have a good one once again. See you soon, lads.
See you later.